What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here, and welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus check update, the two new upcoming packages. Part one, the physical infrastructure package, which is $1.2 trillion and has a deal between the Republicans and the Democrats. And then part two, which comes immediately next, the next stimulus package, which is $3.5 trillion and is the largest stimulus package yet to date, the largest stimulus package ever. Yeah. $3.5 trillion. For comparison, the third stimulus check package, which had $1,400 stimulus checks for adults, $1,400 stimulus checks for children, and $1,400 stimulus checks for adult dependents and college students, and on top of that, had $3,000 to $3,600 checks for child tax credits, those $250 to $300 monthly checks for children that are going out right now on the 15th of each month, called the child tax credits, in addition to the $1,400 stimulus checks. And it had over $40 billion for mortgage and rental assistance. And it had additional $300 per week unemployment benefits. It had additional stimulus provisions like that $10,200 unemployment tax break. It had all sorts of things like the SNAP WIC and pandemic EBT assistance, all sorts of things in there. That third stimulus check package was only $1.9 trillion. This next stimulus package is going to be, or has been announced, at $3.5 trillion, almost twice the size. So there's plenty of money in there for everything and the kitchen sink. Yeah, they're going to be immediately moving on to voting on the next stimulus package right after they pass part one. We're going to talk about passing part one, the physical infrastructure package here first. Then we're going to be talking about an $8,000 bill proposal that could put $8,000 in your pocket. Yeah, this is an actual proposal here. We're going to talk about that, as well as several different things going on in the government in Washington, D.C., and what is going on in the United States today. So if you're new to the channel, or if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe down below. It's completely free to do so. Remember that new videos come out here on our channel every single day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't forget to hit the like button, and let's jump right in. Okay, first up, really good news. The bipartisan infrastructure bill nears a critical Senate vote. The final vote could happen as early as tonight, Thursday night, with Republicans privately signaling they're likely to help advance the deal. Yeah, so the infrastructure package, part one, could happen as early as tonight. Yes, check this out. The Senate is racing to finish work on the bipartisan infrastructure package deal, with some members of both parties pushing for a final vote as soon as Thursday evening, tonight. Remember, then they start working on the next stimulus package. They're actually going to start voting on it next. So the next stimulus package will come next. Completing the $550 billion package of spending, it's a little bit weird that they call it this, because it's actually $1.2 trillion. It's $550 billion of new money and $550 billion of old money. So I don't know why they call it $550 billion, because that might confuse a lot of people. It's around $1.2 trillion. So I don't know if you want to disregard that, but yeah, $550 billion of old money, $550 billion of new money. The spending of physical infrastructure, roads, bridges, getting rid of lead drinking pipes, yeah, water, yeah, all sorts of physical infrastructure. Then the next stimulus package will come next. A Republican senator familiar with the effort to expedite things said the goal would be to finish the infrastructure bill possibly tonight and immediately launch into a budget debate on Saturday, which would be the next stimulus package. Privately, several conservative senators have signed off on the effort. It's also possible that Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer moves to shut off debate on the bipartisan infrastructure bill as soon as today, which would set up a crucial vote this weekend on the deal. So again, could happen today, could happen this weekend. If it doesn't happen today, they will be working throughout this weekend. I've seen a lot of comments saying, oh, tomorrow's the end of the week. No, they're going to be working throughout the weekend either way. So last weekend they worked Saturday and Sunday, so they will be working throughout the weekend if they do not finalize the deal. Speeding things up would require agreement from all 100 senators, and many Republicans want to see a Congressional Budget Office analysis of the infrastructure bill's financing that's expected on Thursday. Everybody understands that right behind this is going to be the budget, aka the budget reconciliation, aka the next stimulus package. And I don't think that anybody is looking to extend this out any longer than necessary. So everybody kind of knows what's happening and what is going to be next. Failing this agreement, if they don't get everybody to agree to vote on it tonight, Schumer may put things in motion Thursday after the Senate considers more amendments to the bill, though no final decision has been made. That would set up a Saturday vote to overcome a filibuster when the bill would need the support of at least 10 Republican senators. Again, that's the filibuster rule, is where they need 60 votes in the Senate. 50 Democrats and 10 Republicans. The last vote, they had 66 votes. They had 16 Republicans and 50 Democrats to get 66 votes. So they need at least 60 votes to pass this bill. Once it passes the filibuster, it will glide on to passage. Immediately after that, the Senate will turn to consider a Democratic budget, aka the budget reconciliation, aka the next stimulus package. That will set up a potential future passage of the spending bill as large as $3.5 trillion, aka the next stimulus package. Senate leaders are discussing the particulars of how they can wrap up both issues, but allow rank and file members sufficient time to debate and consider them. So yeah, as of time of this filming, remember I have to film these videos a little bit before they go live. I have to film the video, my wife has to edit them, then we have to upload them to YouTube. You know, all that takes a little bit of time. They could be voting on that tonight. I will have an update for you guys on that this morning. But here's the kind of timeline of how this is going to happen. They're going to finalize part one, physical infrastructure package. And then they're going to, remember, the Senate's going to pass it. Then it has to go to the House of Representatives. Remember, this is how things work. The Senate passes it. It doesn't go into law, though. The House of Representatives has to pass it as well. And then the president has to sign it, okay? But what's going to happen in this particular case is the Senate's going to pass it first. The Senate is voting on both these bills, Part 1 and Part 2, the next stimulus package first. Some people think that the House always has to vote on bills first, and that is not the case. So some people think that because the last couple stimulus packages happened to start in the House of Representatives first. That is not the case. Okay, so that just happened to be that the last couple bills that the House voted on them first. That's not the case. The House can vote on them first, or the Senate can vote on them first. In these particular bills, the Senate is voting on both of them first. Okay, so the Senate is going to pass Part 1, the physical infrastructure bill first, and then it's just going to kind of sit there, or maybe go over to the House, but the House is not going to vote on it yet. Okay. So Part 1 is going to pass the physical infrastructure package. Then the Senate is going to immediately start taking up Part 2, the next stimulus package, the American Families Plan, the $3.5 trillion package, the big one, big enchilada, right? Okay, but they're going to pass this through the reconciliation process. Okay, the process which basically says instead of needing 60 votes in the Senate, you're only needing 50 votes, okay? This has special rules of which they already have taken that into consideration. So you're only going to need 50 to 51 votes to pass this. I say 50 to 51 because how it works is that, and here's how it's going to go down. This is exactly how the third stimulus check package was passed, okay? The third stimulus check package, 50 Democrats voted yes. 50 Republicans voted no. Not a single Republican voted yes on the third stimulus check package. So when you got the third stimulus check, not a single Republican voted yes on that. So 50 Democrats voted yes, 50 Republicans voted no, and then the tiebreaker vote goes to the Vice President of the United States, who happens to be at this particular moment a Democrat, Vice President Kamala Harris, for the 51st vote, the tiebreaker vote, and that's where the 51st vote comes in. And that is probably the exact same thing that is going to happen for this next stimulus package, this fourth stimulus package, the $3.5 trillion package. So that's the process that they're going to start voting on pretty much immediately afterwards, okay? So again, all this is going to start happening here, depending on the timeline. I mean, they could pass part one here tonight or tomorrow or Saturday. I mean, we're within 48 hours or so here of part one passing. Okay, we're down at the nitty gritty here. So within the next few hours or days, 48 hours or so, we're going to literally see here part one's passed, and then we're going to be moving on to stimulus package is going to start voting on here. Okay. And now remember, Republicans are going to try to block it. They tried to block the third stimulus check package here because honestly, they just don't agree with any. I mean, Mitch McConnell has literally been pretty blunt that he is going to try to block anything that Democrats do. I mean, he literally has speeches, and we've shown it on the channel here before, that he's going to do anything he can to block what the Democrats are doing. I don't know why. It's just Republicans and Democrats. And honestly, to be fair, Democrats have said the same type of things when former President Trump was and the Republicans were in office. So, I mean, Republicans and Democrats are just pretty much like arch enemies. If you follow comic books or superheroes and villains, from back when you're a kid, I kind of see this a lot because my child Julian's 3 years old, right? They're just like villains and arch enemies, right? So Mitch McConnell is the arch enemy of the Democrats, and the Democrats are the arch enemies of the Republicans. I don't know why they can't get along, but they can't. It's kind of weird because the Republicans passed 5 stimulus packages. Okay, 5. In fact, they passed the last stimulus package, the second stimulus check package. Remember, only 2 of them had stimulus checks, but they passed 5 stimulus packages. The last one they passed was in December of 2020, a month before Biden came into office, President Biden. Okay. So 1 month before President Biden came into office, they passed their last stimulus package. 1 month before. Okay. And then a month later, President Biden comes in, and now they're against stimulus. Does that seem kind of weird to you? Now, all of a sudden, they're fiscally responsible? But when the Republicans were in charge of the Senate and the presidency, they passed 5 stimulus packages. So I don't know, to me, just being a realist, not a Republican or a Democrat, when they were in charge of the presidency and the Senate, 2 out of the 3, they were in the majority. They passed 5 stimulus packages. They were pretty much passing stimulus left and right. They passed 5 stimulus packages in less than a year. And now they're against stimulus. They're trying to do everything they can to block it. It almost just seems like they're just against Democrats and not necessarily against stimulus. In fact, we remember that former President Trump actually wanted to increase the stimulus checks. They wanted to increase those $600 stimulus checks to $2,000. Now, Mitch McConnell actually blocked it, so maybe Mitch McConnell was against stimulus, but former President Trump wasn't. So I don't know. It just kind of seems like that it's the Republicans against the Democrats, not necessarily against stimulus themselves. And they wanted to help the economy. They just don't like Democrats. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts if you're a Republican, if you think I'm kind of on point there, because the Republicans passed 5 stimulus packages as early as December, literally a month before Biden came in. And then as soon as Biden came in, they're like, nope, we're not voting for any more stimulus now that Biden's in office. But we did vote for stimulus 1 month before Biden came in office. But anyways, now that Biden's in office and the Democrats just happen to be in control of the House, the Senate, and the presidency, I don't really care who's in charge. The economy and the people need a lot more stimulus. So if the Republicans were in charge of the House, the Senate, and the presidency, which they actually were in 2017 and 2018, the Republicans controlled all 3. They actually controlled all 3 just a few years ago. We're in a once in 100-year pandemic, and COVID cases are skyrocketing. We had almost 250,000 new positive cases in just 48 hours. Yeah, we had 150,000 new cases on Tuesday and over 110,000 new cases yesterday. Yeah. Things are going crazy. The economy is getting worse. COVID cases through the roof. And honestly, this is going to continue going on. So literally, President Biden and the Democrats are kind of in emergency mode to get more stimulus out. They literally just sent out this emergency order for this new eviction moratorium. even though the Supreme Court said you can't do this, and again, that's kind of a Republican versus Democrat thing. The Supreme Court is kind of ruled by Republicans right now. 6 out of the 9 of them are Republicans. So again, it's kind of a Republican versus Democrat thing in a way. And the landlord society, I forgot the name of it, but they're actually suing Biden already over this. So we don't know how long that's going to stay intact, but they're trying to emergency get out rental assistance right now. And the Democrats are trying to scramble how to get this next stimulus package out as soon as possible, to get out more stimulus checks as soon as possible. And then we also have this new proposal to possibly get out an $8,000 check or tax credit out, possibly in this next package as well. Check this out. Stimulus checks and child tax credit payments helped prompt calls to expand another credit benefiting workers, or actually anybody, any family making below $90,000. And remember that tax credits are actually checks. Remember that a stimulus check itself is actually called a tax credit. A regular stimulus check is actually called a tax credit. Yeah, an advanced refundable tax credit is actually a stimulus check. A lot of people get confused about this. I understand this. The child tax credit is actually a check, okay? The stimulus check, the regular old everyday stimulus check, that last $1,400 stimulus check, is actually called, the official name of it is an advanced refundable tax credit. Okay, even if you don't file taxes, even if you don't make $1 of earned income, if you're a stay-at-home mom, for example, or if you're on Social Security, a regular old everyday tax credit is actually a stimulus check. So whenever you hear tax credit, just think of a check, okay, because that's actually what it is. Here's a couple highlights. The Earned Income Tax Credit gives low and moderate income workers a tax break, but it can also give a tax break to people who don't have any earned income. For 2021, that credit was expanded to help workers of all ages and those without children. Now, there are calls to make the break more generous and for a longer period of time. Millions of Americans are feeling a financial boost from federal stimulus checks and monthly child tax credit payments. Those direct checks or tax credits, remember, tax credits really just mean checks, whether you get the check as a tax refund or they send it to you out in advance as a stimulus check or a check in the mail, were made possible by tax credits that were created or expanded through legislation aimed at helping the U.S. economy bounce back from COVID-19 as tax credits or stimulus checks. And as Americans get used to additional financial help through these stimulus checks or stimulus packages, there are calls to make enhanced tax credits permanent. That includes the child tax credit and the temporary expansion to the earned income tax credit as well, also known as the adult tax credit, which will be in this next package as well. And actually, you might not need any earned income in this next package. Remember, the child tax credit, they made a key change in the last stimulus package, the third stimulus check package, that said you didn't need any earned income at all to get those child tax credits, those monthly payments that equate to a total of $3,000 to $3,600. In this next package is going to be an adult income tax credit that could also mean you might not need any earned income. The earned income tax credit, also known as the adult tax credit, gives low to moderate income individuals and families a tax break. To qualify, taxpayers must generally show proof of earned income, but remember, they just changed that in the last package to where you didn't need any earned income at all. I want to stress that. Just in the last package, they changed the child tax credit so where you didn't need any earned income at all. And they could very well do this for the adult tax credit that they are saying is going to be in this next package. They may also qualify for a bigger credit based on how many dependents you may have. The adult tax credit was made more generous for 2021 in several ways, and now more workers without children can qualify now as well. For the first time, it is also made available to younger workers and now has no age limits. However, there's already been calls to extend the adult tax credit expansion beyond this year, And notably, this includes President Biden's next stimulus package called the American Families Plan, which Democrats say will be in this next stimulus package, this adult tax credit. It also includes a bill reintroduced by Republican Gwen Moore, a Democrat from Wisconsin last week, called the Worker Relief and Credit Reform Act, which aims to both expand and modernize the adult tax credit. Moore's proposal is a broader rethink of how the adult tax credit can be used to provide economic security to Americans, said Adam Rubin, director of Economic Security Project Action, which lobbies for the adult tax credit modernizations and other policy changes to improve Americans' ability to thrive financially, which it also includes in Biden's expansions in this next package. It would also take those changes further, he said. It would phase in more quickly, which would also enable low income people to get more money for this next package. At the same time, couples with up to $90,000 in combined income would also stand to get a larger credit. And I know how much the credit is. Actually, it says right here, under Representative Moore's proposal, the maximum credit could be more generous or would be more generous, up to $4,000 per individual or $8,000 per married couple. So again, this tax credit, whether they'll pay it to you in monthly payments, so say maybe $400 per month or $300 per month, could be $4,000 per individual or $8,000 per married couple. Yeah, that's a significant amount. So this is the type of adult tax credit they could include in this next package. And this is something that the Democrats are considering right now. They have said that an adult tax credit will be included in this next package. And this $4,000 tax credit for individuals, $8,000 for married couple, basically $4,000 per person, has been getting a lot of media attention. And as I said, the Democrats have said an adult tax credit. Remember, adult tax credit basically just means either a tax refund or they can send it to you as monthly checks in advance, very similar to the child tax credits. Everybody was really confused on what a child tax credit is. A lot of people understand it now. They're sending it to you in advance. And remember, the child tax credits, you don't need any earned income at all. You could be a person on Social Security. You could be a stay-at-home mom who doesn't have a job. Just as examples, okay? Everybody was real confused when they first came out. A lot of people understand them now. So that's the child tax credits. In this next package is going to be an adult tax credit. Remember, the child tax credit was in addition to $1,400 stimulus checks, okay? That can be in this next package. They're saying that there is going to be an adult tax credit in this next package and an extension of the child tax credit, most likely. Again, everything is up for negotiation. And this next package is $3.5 trillion. Everything is up for negotiation, but that is almost twice the size of the third stimulus check package. So really, there's a lot to be hopeful for. A lot of this is really good news. I mean, it's not like we're talking about a $1 trillion package like the second stimulus check package was, and they still fit stimulus checks into there. I mean, if they can fit stimulus checks into a less than $1 trillion package, they can surely fit a lot into a $3.5 trillion package. So if anything, the packages are getting larger. They're fitting more and more into it in there. So, I mean, you guys can let me know your thoughts, but I'm very, very hopeful that they're going to be fitting more and more into there. I mean, the packages are getting larger. And if anything, the economy is getting worse and COVID cases are getting higher. So you can let me know your thoughts. Make sure to subscribe down below. It's completely free to do so. Remember, new videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will keep you up to date. You can share this video with your friends and family. And yeah, they could be voting tonight. They could be voting tomorrow on part 1, and then they move on immediately to the next stimulus package. You can click this top video here to watch my newest stimulus check video next. And this video is my newest video on how President Biden wants to raise Social Security benefits. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.